Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome to What Women Want Talk Radio for our show tonight, Turning Digital into Personal. I'm your host, Judy Goss, along with my amazingly talented co-host, Kristin West. 3 years of airing What Women Want here on LA Talk Radio. Can't believe it. I want to thank you, all of our listeners, for getting us to over 700,000 downloads so far in those 3 years. We enjoy every single show, and we really hope you do also. Some captivating conversations, let me tell you. If you want to listen to past shows, go to LA Talk Radio's website archives, latalkradio.com, under What Women Want, or subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play. You'll hear some of our celebrity guests who have been with us in the past year, like former O.J. Simpson prosecutor Marcia Clark, five-time Olympian Jackie Edwards, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff author Dr. Christine Carlson, and 3 weeks ago, former Today Show anchor Jenna Wolfe was on the show with her story of bravery and boldness. She was great. We've had famous actresses, singers, entrepreneurs, all kinds of women and men too. We're having Dr. Dennis Netter back on in a couple of weeks. I'm excited to say. Dating coach to the stars, and everyone is so energetic and inspiring in their very own ways. So I'm constantly impressed. And in just a few minutes, we will be talking uniquely digital, turning digital into personal. And it's a bit of play on words when I pick the title, because that could be meeting people or just getting personal with your comments online. But in Olivia Poole's case, the founder of Hey Vina, she co-founded an app where women can meet female friends. And she's getting personal online, too, I noticed, when she was describing the website. I have a long list of questions for this one. And after Olivia, the Brilliant Bachelorette Ali Beck will be talking digital dating and safety. She has an app that says will keep you safe while going on those stranger danger dates. My twin daughters are 12. They keep talking about stranger danger. So hold on for a few more minutes while we announce some exciting events we have coming up, both online and off. And we will bring on our fascinating guests. Kristin, Linda Albright was terrific last week, wasn't she?
Oh my goodness, what a ride we took with Linda. I am so excited for this webinar. She knows so much about the entrepreneurial world and how to, get more successful, faster, bigger. And, she became a business coach decades ago. Actually, before coaching was even an official industry. I don't know if she's going to let me sing that because that kind of shows her age. But tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, she has a brilliant webinar. It's a free webinar. It's called 3 Lies and 1 Life-Changing Truth. Now, she'll give you access if you RSVP on whatwomenwantnetworking.com/3 lies and 1 truth. Now, this is about growing your business more effectively with your hidden inner code. I would have told you that I really don't believe in this sort of thing, but she has it all down to a science. Now, testing it for a year, she did it on me. It was unbelievable. And it's really all about laying out your life blueprint and how you can follow it and use it to your every advantage. So if you want to get on that webinar tomorrow, it's 1 p.m. Eastern, whatwomenwantnetworking.com//3 lies and 1 truth. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to have recordings. So if you register on that link, I'm sure that they'll be emailing you the replay afterwards. So fascinating stuff. Okay, a little bit about me, my background. Besides being the host of this awesome radio show, I am also a TV host and regular contributor on NBC and Fox. I'm on Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. as a lifestyle expert on Ernie and Asta's new lifestyle show in New York City. I'm an entrepreneur. I founded the nationally acclaimed What Women Want networking group 5.5 years ago. Gosh, can't believe it. With several live chapters spanning from coast to coast. I'm a St. Martin's Press author and a freelance writer for New York Lifestyles magazine. And the most important job of all, like I mentioned before, I have twin 12-year-olds who are almost 13. We have quite a house. Let me tell you something with 3 females that are trying to grow up in their own ways. What Women Want Networking. That's my company, same name as our show,
is having our first National Women's Conference. So now we had a webinar for you, so now we have a national conference. It's in Atlanta called Spirit of Women, October 7th through 8th, spiritofwomenconference.com, featuring VIP sponsor Women for One. The founder of womenforone.com is Kelly McNellis. She has millions of followers from over like 60 countries or something. She's been on the show, and I've heard a lot of stories, but hers is really eye-opening. She'll be running a workshop called Discover Your Messy Truth, and this is the first Lifestyles Networking Conference for women, so very exciting. We are also thrilled to have psychotherapist to the stars and award-winning TV reporter Dr. Robbie Ludwig, who's going to be a keynote at the conference. So if you're interested in more, again, it's spiritofwomenconference.com. Talk about getting personal. This is going to be great stuff at this conference with 250 women in Atlanta. Okay, our show tonight is Turning Digital into Personal here on LA Talk Radio with your hosts, Judy Goss, Kristin West, and we're bringing our guests on in just a minute. But we do have a question from our sponsor. Have you ever wondered why you can't keep weight off after losing it on a diet or a weight loss plan? Wonder why you don't feel as good as you should when you age? Oh, yeah. Get the secrets of aging. Well, losing weight and preventing disease. Don't miss this healthy happy hour with top preventative medicine doctor Timothy Morley, and find out how you can look into the future and prevent disease. That would be nice. Learn to look and feel fabulous and lose weight successfully long term. Now, if you're in the New York area, Dr. Morley invites you to his 1133 Westchester Avenue in Westchester, New York. That's 1133 Westchester Avenue. May 24th at 6 p.m. for food, wine, and life-saving information and education on looking and feeling your very best. To RSVP, please call 914-615-9004 if you're in that New York, Westchester area. I know we have a lot of listeners in that area as well as the West Coast. My lovely co-host, Kristin West, is also with me. Oh my gosh, she does the best live videos on Facebook and Twitter and all over the place. She is an award-winning actress and producer. She is the winner of a Best Actress Award for the film Seeking Valentina, nominated for Best Actress and the Mary Austin Award for Female Producers, and won the Indie Spirit Award this year at the Idlewild International Film Festival. Kristin, we're tackling the digital versus personal conversation tonight. What do you think?
I think it's so important what we're talking about, because when I was a little girl, I grew up in a very small town. I knew everybody in the town, and everybody knew me. And when I grew up and moved away from my small town to Austin and then Los Angeles, my social life, much of it depended on digital interaction and meeting people digitally. So it's such an important, it's the way we connect now, especially in urban environments too, I would think. So I'm really excited to talk to Ali and Olivia.
Well, you know
about
what?
this.
And I didn't. Yeah, no, me too. And I didn't grow up digital, as you know, because I'm a little older, just a little. And I'm fascinated with this world because, you know, I wasn't born into it, and you guys were, and the whole generational differences and perspectives, and you know, things that you can do, things that you can't do, and it's a cool conversation. So I'm looking to dig a little bit more deeper into it. You know, I want to know if going offline with friends and relationships is a good thing. Is it not? I don't know. It isn't always. I feel like everything is. Well, you guys, you know, when the younger generation doesn't know much different, but I feel like I keep saying everything's kind of like a character count these days.
It's true.
And, but it's a good thing in one way because you really have to get to the point, right?
No, it's true. And I actually, my usage of Facebook started when I was in college for college students. So I do remember a world. It's a distant memory, but I do remember a world where you actually had to, you know, fill out a paper invitation to get someone to come to your party. And mail them. I remember those things. So, I mean, it's exciting to talk to Olivia and Ali about how we can make the best of this digital world, what's out there.
Yeah, totally. Well, Olivia Poole is the founder and CEO of Vina, a tech startup that empowers women through community and content. Vina is backed by Tinder and top Silicon Valley venture capitalist firms. She's worked in tech startups for 8 years. Olivia is also on the board of Spark, the largest network of millennials that invest in grassroots women's empowerment organizations. Welcome to the show, Olivia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, congratulations on everything you're doing. You're really kicking butt out there in the tech world.
Well, thank you. I know for me, it's really working towards solving meaningful problems in the world.
Yeah, no, totally. And if you can empower women at the same time and bring people together that help each other, then it's all for the better, right?
Absolutely. Talking about how you ladies grew up with technology, I think I'm probably the oldest generation that was truly kind of or felt like a digital native.
Oh, yeah. I did not grow up in the tech world. Not even close. I'm almost 50. So, yeah, I'm a little foreign to this whole thing. But you are not foreign because you started this whole almost your own niche in the tech world. So tell me your story. I'm also always fascinated with inventors in the tech world just because there are so many and there are so many startups. Of course, the Silicon Valley is famous for that whole rise and fall. And, let me know where you're from originally and how you got into this whole tech space.
Yeah, so I grew up in Newport Beach, California, so in Orange County. My parents are both entrepreneurs. They both worked for themselves and did work that they were passionate about, but neither of them were super techie. And then I, in college, decided, actually, my freshman year of college was the year that Facebook came out. And previous to that, I had discovered social networking sites. Excuse me?
I think that was just for some interference. Sorry.
Okay. So previous to that, I actually in high school had discovered Friendster and MySpace, so some of the early social networking sites out there. And I thought it was so fascinating how you could actually discover a world beyond, the tiny high school that I went to. My graduating class was 120 people. And I think I was really hungry to start exploring the world and understand different people's perspectives. And I thought it was so interesting. I actually started I think I met my first friend from the internet when I was probably a junior in high school from the website Friendster. And then, throughout college, I studied social psychology, really investigating, how do we relate to one another? Like, how do bonds form between people? Friends have always been a top priority for me. And then when I went into my career, I actually moved up to San Francisco. I graduated college in the year 2008, so there weren't a lot of job opportunities around in the world. And so I moved up to San Francisco in hopes of finding a job and a career up here, and got involved in the tech scene. So worked in enterprise.
What type of job were you looking for?
Oh, honestly, it was like any job. Like if someone was willing to pay me for something, I was pretty much willing to do it.
That was a tough time when you graduated.
Yeah, and so my first job out of college, actually, I was working in a law firm that dealt with consumer debt. And I would spend all day on the phone with people who are getting sued by their creditors. So I got a front row seat to the whole economic crisis in the United States.
Oh my gosh!
So that was actually it was very intense, and that actually is what inspired me to quit my job and move up to San Francisco and see if I could maybe pursue something different. And so after a lot of years and after getting a job in tech, I was the only woman I knew. I didn't know how to make new friends in a new city. So I started trying to figure out what do you do? What do you do when you show up to a new town? And how do you meet people as an adult? You're not in school. I worked with all men. And I was really needing that social circle and that social life that makes a place feel home.
And you couldn't just go on Facebook like everyone else. You had to invent this app that exploded into this incredible startup, and actually carved a niche in your industry.
Yeah, well, the thing with Facebook, and I'm sure we all realize is that you end up with all these friends on Facebook, but it's not meeting new people. It's actually maintaining the relationships with people you already know.
That's right.
And so what I did is I started online dating. So at least it was getting me out of the house. And so I was realizing on all of these OkCupid dates that I was meeting these great guys that I had a ton of things in common with, but I wasn't finding a romantic spark. And so I ended up with a big network of guy friends. And so then I started looking at the profiles of other women on the site and thinking, hey, these girls are actually really similar to me and really cool. I think I might. And so I started messaging them saying, hey, I'm new to town. Like, I don't know what wouldn't be weird, but like, hey, do you want to, maybe grab a drink after work? And it was really awkward.
Mm-hmm. It is awkward. Now, do you find yourself in situations, meeting women like this in awkward situations, or maybe, compromising situations? Have you ever, had that happen to you? I imagine there's even people on a site like this, or an app like this, I should say. It's really an app, right? That pose themselves as women, or how do you stay safe?
Yeah, so one of the things that's really important, in the world of online dating, you have to like meet in public spaces and do all these things. They tell people that you're meeting up with people. But I went on to, with Hey Vina, we do a lot of vetting to make sure that, people are who they say they are. You have to sign up with your Facebook account. Your gender has to be public on your Facebook account. You have to have a certain number of friends and contacts and interaction and photos for us to make sure
terrific.
that you're a real person. So safety is really a high priority, especially, for us as a network of women, because one of the things I realized is I was actually traveling and I tried to, use a dating site on there, but I didn't want to go on dates with people. I just wanted to like meet locals. And so I wanted to have this network where, I didn't feel like I had to go on a date or get on the back of someone's Vespa in Italy and be like, I don't know where it's going to happen to me. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could just meet other awesome women wherever I go? If I move somewhere, get out of a relationship, go through a career change, where a lot of times our social circles shift during those times. And oftentimes we're left saying, hey, like, actually, what am I going to do on Saturday night?
It's true, because
go ahead.
I think in my parents' generation and in my grandparents' generation, they had all of this involvement in fraternal organizations, civic organizations, and other. They really went out of their way to build little clubs of people, and we don't have that as much as a social expectation or social requirement anymore. Do you find that your demographics skew towards people in urban areas, or do you have a rural appeal as well, or what's kind of your demographic like?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. When we launched Hey Vina just a little bit over a year ago, my hypothesis that our core user base would be women who are in metropolitan cities, maybe their first or second job after college. But one of the things that happened was that, we were having people from all around the world and ages like 16 to women in their 70s signing up for Hey Vina, because we are oftentimes, in these social situations where we don't know someone who also loves to, or is like a cat owner who loves to like go to museums and rock concerts, or we're all, as women, we're so multifaceted, and it's very rare to have a friend that shares all of the interests and passions and life experiences that you have. Our generation, like today, we move a lot more. We don't all grow up at the exact same pace. Like, we're not all getting married in our early 20s and having kids by 27. That's true for some people, but then some people are waiting until their 40s to start a family. And like, how do you find those women who are at the same life stage as you, who are, doing the same thing as you? Maybe you never have kids. It really changes, and we're moving to these even in small towns where oftentimes, we either have a person who moves to a town where there is a very strong religious culture, and they're not religious, or vice versa, and it's hard to find your people.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, she had some interesting categories on her app as far as, what you could check if you are a even book, if you read books, or if you, like she said, if you have a cat, or you like to go to museums, or, one of them was like, do you drink coffee, or would you prefer to have a drink, or both? Do you go out during the night? Do you find yourself awake late at night, or do you find yourself an early riser? And these different choices on profiles can make such a difference as to who you meet. So I'm very impressed that you kind of vetted that out and realized that would help, especially women meet other women. That's very admirable.
Well, thank you. Lifestyle similarities are so important, especially if you're going to take a relationship from online to offline. You have to be able to coordinate your schedules and your activities that you want to go do.
Exactly. So now, your first website was ladybrag.com. Was that your first, or did you have some before that?
So before starting Vina, I started a women's networking group called Ladies Who We Know. And basically, we started throwing happy hours monthly in wine bars in San Francisco, just to start,
that sounds terrible.
We had a lot of fun. Every month we'd have over 100 women show up to a wine bar. And we've, had hotels host us to, taking buses to Napa, a lot of fun stuff. But what we saw was that people were moving away because, a lot of times San Francisco is a very transient city. And they were, emailing and asking me, can we start a Ladies Who Know here? Will you start one in Zurich or in New York or in Atlanta? And ultimately it was, I still had a full-time job. I didn't have enough time to start networking groups everywhere. So I ended up deciding to quit my job and build a technology platform that would allow, to have the Ladies Who Know experience, but in cities all around the world.
I have to tell you, I looked at Lady Brag and I love it. Check it out, because I think one thing is we don't often give ourselves enough credit for the things we do, right? And sometimes I have horrible inadequacy issues, I'll admit that. And giving ourselves props for the little things that we do is so important to kind of buoy our courage and our self-esteem and to keep us resilient when the crap really does hit the fan. And I really love your site because of that. I wanted to tell you that.
Somebody's got some, sounds like background interference there. Yeah.
I apologize, we're in a city here.
Yeah, that's okay.
So Lady Brag was founded because what we noticed is a bunch of studies came out in 2012 saying women aren't bragging as much as men are. And it's leaving them behind a lot, very much.
Wait, it took them until 2012 to figure that out?
I know, right? And because of that, we were falling behind in our careers, and women weren't getting the recognition they deserved simply because we weren't socially comfortable to talk about it. We weren't getting encouraged to talk about it. We weren't encouraging each other. And oftentimes the behavior would be celebrated with men, but with women, it would be frowned upon. And so what we started was getting women to brag at these events in front of each other. And we learned so much about it, one another. So we actually launched ladybrag.com to encourage women to talk about their achievements and to allow men and women to send them digital cheers about those achievements.
It's really cool. Please check it out. It's so cool. And I think it's so important. And I really like that you took that piece of information and just ran with it. And I think that's important that you created the space for that, because sometimes when you just do it on your own Facebook timeline, oh no, she's bragging, a little bit uppity. But when people are doing it in a community, it's so much more healthy and supportive, I think.
Yeah, and you tell us about Spark. Is somebody, if one of our guests has browsers on in the background, if you could just close them because we're getting a little bit of interference. Go ahead, Olivia.
Sure. So Spark is an organization I got involved in when I moved to San Francisco. And I learned, it inspired me quite a bit in my focus on women's empowerment. One of the things I learned is that when you invest into women and in a culture, everyone benefits. Men, children, the entire economy. everyone thrives when women are supported. And so what we do at Spark is actually invest like money and pro bono services and time and mentorship to these organizations that are budding all around the world, usually by providing them small grants and whatnot. And we get men and women engaged with women's empowerment initiatives at a global level. So things like rehabilitating women who are victims of human trafficking, to providing, sanitation, feminine hygiene products in South America.
That is fantastic. And, I feel like it's a way, of giving back, really, because here you are, very successful, and maybe it did take you a little longer than you thought, but now you're turning around and finding out how you can help other female entrepreneurs. So that is, exceptionally admirable. Now, I hope you're going to attend the Spirit of Women conference down in Atlanta. Because
it sounds fabulous.
Oh, thank you. It's going to be very exciting, and our whole premise really, is about empowering women and not just business in a very well-rounded way, personal, and showing them really the how-tos of if they and what you said earlier a few minutes ago is so true, that when we invest and build up women, the world is a better place. And that's exactly what I feel. So I'm very, very passionate about that. So that's what my conference is about also. So good for you. So heyvina.com, you can go on the website, but download the app because it is really fun and easy to use. And also you had, we only have a couple minutes left, but you also have a new venture that just launched about 6 or 7 days ago, right?
Actually, last month.
Oh, last month. Okay. And it's Vina Zine?
So Vina Zine is, so the word Vina actually means girlfriend in Icelandic. So that's where the name comes from, in addition to an homage to Lady Savino. But Vina Zine is basically a magazine dedicated to helping women be their best selves. So we have a special focus on social relationships, and we really talk about a lot of different life stages, and a lot of different issues that come up. We tackle taboo topics like eating disorders and body acceptance, to abortions and talking about all different kinds of stuff. Like, what do you do if your friend is in an abusive relationship? Like, what do you do if you have a toxic friendship, or you're in a bad work environment, or going through problems with your mother or daughter. So we really focus very deeply on our social relationships and, emphasize, how can you live your best life?
That's excellent. Well, congratulations with everything you're doing. You sound like a huge success, and you sound like you're only getting more and more successful as you go on and empowering women along the way. So that's terrific. So it's Vina, Vina. She's got her Vina Zine that just launched as well. And I noticed on social media, you have to put in I like Vina to find you on Twitter and Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to have you. Good luck with all your successes. And we are going to we're going from friends to dating now, meeting people online. It might be, something you've heard of before, but Ali Beck has a different way of meeting people online. Kristin, why don't you bring her on?
Yes, Ali Beck is the Brilliant Bachelorette. She is a digital dating app expert from California that has tried almost every dating website, dating app, and visited many matchmaking agencies to help you in dating. She has great dating ideas, catchy phrases, quick tips, date night ideas, and great love tips for keeping your relationships alive and joyful. And she once rated the Apple Store dating closet and tried 15 dating apps and went on 20 dates in 30 days. This Brilliant Bachelorette is your cyber dating expert. Welcome so much to the show, Ali. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, I just want to pick your brain because, first of all, 20 dates in 30 days, my goodness, you must have a large amount of energy. I don't know how I could have kept up that schedule.
I do. That was a fun month, and then I continued to date after that since I knew what apps best worked for me. And then I dated quite a bit on dating apps, and I finally met someone that I liked actually last year, so I stopped dating on a dating app and then started the research process to help other people. But I became my own bachelorette kind of show as an expert in dating apps. I was so fascinated by them and helping other people navigate through them.
Well, you definitely have a lot of advice and wisdom about this. Now, do I understand correctly you started out as a kindergarten teacher before becoming a dating expert?
I did. I was a kindergarten teacher for 8 years, and after a career change, I went into the matchmaking industry and started working for It's Just Lunch, which was one of the first boutique matchmaking firms out of Chicago. So I worked for one in La Jolla and did some training in Chicago, and I fell in love with the world of dating and matchmaking and thought it was so fascinating that I went on to work for another private matchmaker and then began my career in the dating world and visited many matchmakers myself and went on dates with them as well. So I changed careers from matching kindergartners with their partners for reading books to helping match people for love. So I was excited about date nights and setting up the dates and coordinating people that I thought would go great together. That the whole industry was so fascinating to me, I thought I would stick with that.
See, that's an app right there, matching up kindergartners for reading partners. Because when I was in kindergarten, I was in kindergarten, I got bit by my reading partner, and I have never forgotten it. But so maybe that's a new thing. But let's talk about, you started off in more of a traditional matchmaking setting at It's Just Lunch. Has the digital apps now, is traditional matchmaking suffered because of that? Or is traditional matchmaking where you go and you have an appointment with a person still alive and well? What's it like now?
I think traditional matchmaking has gotten a little less as popular because everyone's on their phone now. We use our phone to pay our bills and listen to Pandora and share our every move on social media, and we can magically meet someone now, and there's so many different apps to choose from that go with every demographic that now going to actually meet someone in person to a matchmaker isn't as popular. But there are some matchmaking firms that you can have that app with as well. And another one of my favorite matchmaking firms that you can meet someone like at a coffee shop and it's not anything serious in an office, the 3-day rule, that's kind of like a fun one. That is probably better for like the demographic of 25 to 45. But as far as meeting someone like a matchmaker, a boutique matchmaking firm, they aren't as popular. However, I have a favorite one in LA and New York that I really like. So I think it just depends on what works for you. If the app world works for you, if the matchmaker works for you, or going online works for you with Matchery, Harmony, or just meeting someone organically. But I think that's what I wanted to talk about was that, you know, if you're going to use a dating app, here's the ones that I like best, and here's how to stay safe on them. And then no matter where you go on a date, here's how to stay safe on a date. So I had my own personal things happen to me, so I wanted to help other people stay safe.
You know, it's fascinating. When you look at the landscape of what's available now to digitally date, it's highly segmented. And Olivia was alluding towards this and talking about how people set up preferences on her site for matching up just friends. But there is, I researched this, there's tall friends dating, there's zombie passions, there's date a golfer, there's farmers only, and gluten-free singles. Do you feel like that level of segmentation is harmful or helpful?
I think it's helpful. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun way to meet with people and for people to feel like they're taking more responsibility of the type of person that they're looking for. And
I guess it's a good conversation starter too, right?
Hobbies. Yeah, definitely. And then I think that once they go on that app, if they feel like that, you know, that's not really the right app for them or the pool for them, they can go back to another more popular app, but just make sure that they're very honest about those hobbies and those things that they like. But I definitely think that there's so many different types of app for any kind of person that if you, whatever color you like or whatever, you know, flavor ice cream you like, you can choose that. So that's kind of a fun thing too. But the way that they work too and how to communicate on them, no matter what demographic, you still have to learn how to communicate digitally because this person is not in front of you yet.
This may sound like a very one-dimensional question, but what is the difference between these apps? I mean, they ask if you have brown hair, if you're, what height you are, and what do you like. I mean, how do you differentiate? Because they sound like they kind of all have the same, do the same thing, or not.
So all dating apps have a different way of matching and an algorithm. So even though you have to put your personal information in, most of them connect you through a social media or a Facebook network, and most of them have pictures of the interface that you need to look at that person's picture and their stats. But all of them match differently based on location, or, you can put those things in, but every app has a different way of matching, and every app has a different pool of people. And then every app also has a different way of asking questions, or they're focused on different things, I think. So, obviously if Tinder, which is one of the top matchmaking apps, has such a wide range of people in that area versus Bumble, which is where the women ask the men out, and within 24 hours the match goes away if they're not matched. That has less people in that pool, but the matches are higher quality, many people have found. So it just depends on what app and how they're connected. Are you connected through your LinkedIn or through your Facebook, or how are you connected digitally?
What do you think is the biggest failure of most dating apps? What is that je ne sais quoi that they're missing? What is that thing that's maybe not connecting with people, or not making people able to connect better?
I think people don't know how to set up their profile or how to communicate, because I think that if they knew how to set up the profile and what types of pictures or what types of things to put about their best self, I think they would feel like they would match with someone better or like the app better, as well as how they're communicating, how to break the ice, what to say, how to open, how to, respond back. I think the way that they're communicating and then what they're putting out there is a huge factor in them being successful in finding somebody on a dating app, because you're not going to be successful on the dating app if your profile isn't truthful and honest to you and what you're looking for, as well as what you're communicating and saying to this person before you meet them initially in person.
I want to pivot to obviously, we hope in a perfect world where everybody is nice and good and wonderful and lovely, that everybody's honest about what they look like, honest about their goals, honest about what they're searching for. But, we do have catfishing and ghosting, and then I learned of a new one today called breadcrumbing. Can you explain what those things are and what little red flags to look for on those kind of profiles?
Sure. Yeah. So the first one, obviously catfishing, everyone knows that. You say that you're someone, but you're not. And I found working with a matchmaker when we were on these apps looking at people, sometimes there were profiles on there that were directly linked to different match websites or matchmakers, or they were directed to something that wasn't appropriate online. And so obviously that app, that's their fault for not taking that off. But then being catfished, how do I know this isn't the right person? Well, do they only have one picture? Do they have 5 pictures? Are there anything connected? Is there anything else connected to this person? As far as breadcrumbing and ghosting is you talk to somebody and then all of a sudden suddenly contact is all cut off with this person. They wanted to talk to you. Now they're not there. They ghost you. They're gone. There's no explanation, and you never see them again. They may still be in your database in your app, but they're not communicating, or they somehow got deleted. And then breadcrumbing is probably so common right now, and a lot of people don't even realize, I think, that they're doing it or that they're being breadcrumbed. But to me, breadcrumbing, the term, means the act of sending out some kind of flirtatious, non-committal text message or message on a dating app that kind of allures them and is kind of, they don't really know. They're just sporadic little messages, and they're not serious. They're just flirty messages. They're very ambiguous. So that's kind of like a breadcrumbing. So as far as ghosting, breadcrumbing, and catfishing going, you obviously want to be focused on what you're saying to this person. You're not just saying, opening up with, hey, or, a funny line, but you're complimenting them on their style or asking their favorite restaurant or being more specific about bigger topics. You're there to date. You're there to meet somebody. You know, you're not there for any other reason other than to make a connection with somebody that's honest and true to who they are, and then meeting them. And hopefully that's them. That's what they look like and who they are.
You know, and I think this is so important that we're discussing this, because people can get really involved in their online relationship before it even gets into a physical time, space reality that's not in the digital ethers. How do we stay safe? Obviously, you know, meeting in a public place, but beyond that, how do we stay safe not only physically but emotionally when we're doing online dating? What's a good guidepost here?
Okay, that's a great question. I went on so many dates, and I got myself in situations where I definitely didn't feel safe, or sometimes my backup friend didn't answer their phone, or I was in a public place but I just don't feel comfortable. So I have my top 5 things to stay safe on a date. The first one is always talk on the phone first. Sometimes people will text and they'll just meet them right away. Ladies, I say this and hear me out, but do not just text a guy and meet him without hearing his voice. Sometimes hearing the voice that you swiped or liked on the phone will really allow you to feel that vibe and feel more comfortable and potentially help you and keep you safe to meet somebody else. So I think that's the first one, is try to talk on the phone first if you can. I know people, the second one is Google them. Some apps you can actually Google the person to see if they're a real person, if that makes you feel safe. Number 3, meeting in a public place. Don't meet them at their home. Don't go to a home. Go somewhere where there's more people or it's more lit. I always say number 4, definitely don't ever get into a car unless it's Uber or a taxi or there's someone else there, but not that person's car, maybe the very first initial meeting. And then the last one that's really important to me is that this year I became a spokesmodel, and I also represent a company called Remote Alert, and it is a safety app that is brand new on the Apple iTunes store, and you can get it on any of your smartphones. But I think that having a safety app is a huge point of staying safe on a date, or no matter where you are, if you're a runner or you're an Uber, you're a college student. But this company came to me, and we talked about all the stuff that I've gone through dating, and they said, you know, you would be a great person for our company. And so we partnered together, and I work with Remote Alert, and it's easy to download it on your phone. It's a 7-day trial, but it's only 33 cents a day if you want to download it for the year, but it's like having your own personal safety device on your phone. It can act as your personal dating bodyguard, but it's a simple download. With just one swipe or touch of your thumb, the Remote Alert app will contact the central command system. So you can put in 2 emergency contacts. It'll contact your emergency contacts, yourself or authorities. So you always have the security and peace of mind that you need, knowing that there's people there. But it can look like you're just texting. You could be sitting there and you're on a date and you didn't feel safe, and you can just, pick out your phone and hold your thumb down on the Remote Alert button, and someone can think you're texting, but it's really sending a help signal or a message that your phone needs to be called or one of your contacts need to be called, and the GPS will locate where you are. So I used it in Miami actually once because I was in an Uber and I didn't feel comfortable and I didn't feel safe, and I knew it would call my dad or one of my girlfriends and that they would know exactly where I was, and my phone rang right away and it was someone to check on me, and then my girlfriend called right away, and it just helped me have that peace of mind that someone knew where I was, and they could locate me too. So I think having a safety app is really important on your phone. But I think the moral of the story is do your homework, stay in a public place, and make sure that you listen to your gut. If your gut is telling you, I don't feel comfortable in the situation, that you can politely excuse yourself from that date or from that meeting with that person and leave.
Ali, are there any particular questions when you're talking to someone on the phone that you would suggest asking to find out what type of personality, someone you're talking to is, or any kind of red flags to look for when they're talking? Besides heavy breathing and that type of thing.
Yeah, I always say talk about basic things like pets and travel or family, things that are generic, but also get them talking like, oh, so where did you grow up, or where did you go to college, or what, not I mean, I think a lot of times people want to say, how old are you? Or where do you like, it's just it's awkward. And it's an awkward thing when you first pick up the phone to talk to someone that you saw online, but now you're having that connection with over the phone. So asking things like, when's the last place you traveled to? And, how did you like it? Or, things like that, or what's a typical day like? Or, something like that. If they go to their same Pilates studio and
it gives
they're really
you more
into
of a
yoga.
clue into their personality.
Yeah, because you can see what they get passionate about, and you can hear their voice inflection, I think, go up or down based on what they get excited about, and then see if they ask you questions back or they're interested as well, rather than the conversation could be one-sided. You never know.
I also wanted
that might alleviate a lot of problems when meeting in person.
I also wanted to add to the conversation about safety is that there are a lot of bars now where they have a sign up in a discreet place where you can order something called an angel shot, and they will call an Uber or call the police or some variation thereof for you. So if I think one thing, if you're dating, finding these bars that where you can order a hypothetical angel shot is also a good list of roster of places for you to go at a meeting where you may or may not be comfortable for a first-time date. That might be something, too. I know that's kind of been popular lately. Now, let's say we feel safe and we feel wonderful and everything is going great. How do we get out of the dinner and a movie date rut? How do we break that? How do we become more creative?
How do we find new creative ways to not
How do we get that rose?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, well, obviously, when someone asks you out, oh, let's go to dinner, let's get a drink, let's go to the movie. Those are all the same, the first date things. A lot of times, meeting someone on a dating app in a bigger city like Los Angeles, New York, or San Francisco, a drink is so quick, or a cup of coffee is so quick. So how do you be more creative in, hey, let's grab a city bike, we'll, go around here, let's go to Central Park, or if you're in LA, let's meet at a museum and get a smoothie, not a coffee, or let's do something active on the beach. And, something different is that I think that in your initial chatting, when you're asking them the kinds of things they like, those are the kinds of things that you can suggest. Because I think meeting someone for a drink, there's so many other people there at the same time that it could be very distracting. And then in a movie, obviously, you're not really talking. To me, when I think of date night at the movies, I think of you've been dating for 3 or 4 months and you've already had so many conversations that you're not talking. So obviously, I want to talk to this person and get to know them. I don't want to see a movie initially in the first week or two. But I mean, obviously, having food is fun, and there's so many different types of restaurants, so try something different. It doesn't have to be so serious, but it could be something like, I don't know, maybe they want to go to Chipotle, or it doesn't have to be something high end. I think it depends on the situation, but being creative in your dates or packing a picnic or, doing those kinds of fun things too. I think the show, The Bachelor, and some of our reality dating shows have really romanticized and ruined a lot of dates for women now, because there's these fantasy dates with helicopters and private locations. And so now, after 6 months, people are thinking, oh, well, is he going to take me to Paris if he buys me, something that says Paris on it? And so I think we have to be careful and remember that it's not about those things, that it is about the healthy relationship, and that the person you're with is all that matters, and not where you are necessarily all the time.
Yeah, they need to take the real out of reality.
Yeah.
In those shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to remember those shows have a budget of a gazillion dollars to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It is not reality. You got any more questions, Kristin? We got to wrap up soon, huh?
Well, Ali, thank you for coming on. Where do we find you online and connect with your wisdom further? That's my question.
Sure. My blog.
I know
is
I have
people
messaging in oh my gosh, dating. I can't wait to hear about what she has to say.
The brilliantbachelorette.net is my blog. I'm also on social media at the Brilliant Bachelorette. I've been working with an app called Real Lover. It's a new dating app that is like Snapchat for videos. A lot of people like it because it's like FaceTime for dating. Once you're connected, you can FaceTime the person, so you can actually see them and have like a FaceTime conversation, so you know it's really them, so it eliminates the catfishing. So Real Lover, I've been sponsoring with them. And then you can also find me on Remote Alert. I've been working with them a lot for dating apps. And yeah, more to come, more good things to come.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And Judy's going to tell us who's coming on next week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ali, and also Olivia for an awesome show. And next week, we are honored to have on one of the co-founders of Guilt. Remember Guilt? She built a $1 billion business within 3 years. Wow. And also she co-founded Glam Squad and now Fits. So I can't wait to hear what the new company that she has opened, an incredibly inspiring woman. It's all here on LA Talk Radio, or you can go to whatwomenwantradio.com for more info. So thank you for listening, everyone, and have a great night.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.